At the platform, the new age, chain breakers are here. June 16, Happy Youth Day.
Welcome back to the Arise Festival 2020. If you just missed it, we had a hot panel with a young woman who's doing amazing things. 8 books at the age of 11, and next to her was sitting Tebang K9 Wizard, a man who was dripping from head to toe in his own clothes. But right now, we continue with the conversation. We're talking to entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs in South Africa, and we're trying to find out how are they breaking the barriers to entry into their own industries. So I have with me Mr. Lebogang Lebepe. Lebogang Lebepe is a property developer, and he has a very unique way of going into this industry. We'll be talking about that shortly. And next to him, we have Ms. Mbali Ntuli, who is a young graduate who has her own business and actually has a client on her books, which is going great for her. So we'll start with Lebogang Lebepe. Lebo, please tell us how it is in the property game within South Africa.
The market is very interesting and lucrative. It's very profitable when it comes to property development, but the biggest barrier is the capital intensiveness that comes with that.
Yes.
Right. So you need a quite a large amount of money to get into that space. A sizable wallet. Yeah. It's deep pockets to put it. In a nice way. So you need deep pockets to get into the property space, especially the development space side of it. But the model that we've used now, we've now pulled our investors together. So we saw the benefit of pulling our investors together into one pool, and then we use those funds to get into the property development space.
All right, that's beautiful. So Mbali, in your industry, what is your biggest barrier to entry?
Well, my biggest barrier to entry, right, would be, I don't know, like basically you can do whatever in whichever industry. So for example, my company is Bold Media, right? We focus on helping established companies, helping companies that are still being established, and so forth. From doing that, you can learn so much about the different industries that you wouldn't have even known ever.
All right. So you mentioned the capital being a barrier to entry in your industry.
Yes.
So you did say that you get investors to pull together so you guys can break that barrier.
100%.
Can you please give us more insight into how did you use that method and what is that method called?
So we use crowdfunding. You can call it crowdfunding. You can call it venture capital. So what we basically do is we group, for instance, depending on the size of the project. So for every size of the project, I'll give you an example with the smallest project that we currently have.
Yes.
The cost of it is about 1,250,000.
Okay.
So would say, okay, to an average person out there that would like to get into the property space, but they don't have much capital at their disposal.
Yes.
So what we would then do is say, look, if you only have from as little as 50,000 rand, you can partner with us. Then we pull all those funds together, sign obviously the contracts,
the service level agreement,
yes, the service level agreement, the partnership agreement, so that you know that you are protected, we are protected, your money is safe with us. Then we put it into the one fund, and then we buy land, we develop, and then up to finish. Then once we completed with the project, we'll then distribute the dividends according to the percentage that each investor owns into that property development itself. So if for instance, the 1.2 million rent, it can build about 18 studio apartments in a township, and then we can now benefit from that equally as to the amount that you've contributed into the fund.
So talking about township development, do you think there's a big space that is left void by investors in terms of investing into township properties?
100%. Actually, the market that we cater for, it's actually not catered for. If it's under catered for, or even if or under catered for, if I may put it that way. So. For instance, we cater for a market that is between the low-end market and the medium to high-end market. For instance, you look at I'll give you an example.
Please do, yes.
I'm from a township, right?
Okay.
I grew up in a township. I went to varsity. You go to varsity. When you get there, you get introduced to your bathtubs and your showers. But where you're from, you are not used to those things. Then when you get to the varsity, you get used to the lifestyle. After that, you go back to after you completed your studies, you go back home. Now you are faced with the same situation that you left behind. But you now got a job. Say, for instance, an internship pays around less than 10K. Most of the internships, they pay less than 10,000 rand a month. Then if you want to, what your options are, if you want to go rent out, your options are you either go to mid-rent, but you can't afford to go rent it mid-rent.
Okay.
But if you go back to a township, then you are faced with a situation that is exactly the same as at home.
Yes.
You are now forced to go to rent a back room.
Wow,
Whereas
yes.
in a back room, you are still faced with the setup of you bath in a tub, in a vascom, and then you cook here, you sleep here. Everything it's within one space. Whereas the market that we are targeting is that kind of market, people that are looking for comfort but affordable as well.
Right.
So we build studio apartments, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms that are affordable.
So Mbali, I just wanted to know from you, you have a client called Health and Wealth Forum. Can you give us more of a perspective about what the Health and Wealth Forum is all about?
Okay, so here's the thing, right? When it comes to health, everybody neglects their health. You go to the doctors, the clinics, or wherever you need to go to, like at a later stage when you realize, look, Nyakoa, I'm dying right now. I am, I'm close to the gates of heaven. That's when you're like, listen, I need to go and check up on my health. Whereas this should be a continuous thing. This should be a thing that people invest in. This should be a thing that people capitalize in. It should be a thing that people take most priority in. I mean, if you're healthy, you're wealthy. If you're wealthy, you can do anything, right?
Yeah.
So basically, people should take care of their health. There's so many cases that go into the medical malpractice sector, right? And you realize these things, it's like, what?
Yes.
Like so many things, like...
So do you think with the outbreak of coronavirus, the health system has been really exposed in terms of how much malpractice is happening in that environment?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I feel like the government is still trying to see we're still trying to get around this whole coronavirus thing. They're not really sure as to, which way to go. Are we going forward? Are we going backwards? Still looking at other countries to see what they're doing and what they have done positively and good, and then coming back to us and trying to implement these ways based on the South African version of the whole spectrum and,
All right, so before I let you guys go, I just wanted to know, in terms of the businesses that you guys are running, what in your industries basically, what would you like to see happen in the near future? I'll start with you, Lebo. What do you want to see happen in the near future in your industry?
I'd like to see a lot of black people get into the development market, more especially young black people. I would like to see a lot of people owning land and owning property, because that's one of my biggest goals. I'll give you an example. In the past, during the course of lockdown, I've helped about 10 people start their own property investment portfolios.
Wow, that's amazing.
On their individual capacity. So that's one thing that I'm passionate about, to help people. As much as I'd like people to invest in my business, but I also would like to see people owning their own property portfolio and growing in that space. And also, owning land. The biggest thing is owning land, remaining with the rights of the land.
All right, so same question to you, Mbali. What would you like to see happen in the next few years in your industry?
In my industry, I genuinely would like people to realize that they've got more opportunities than what they see or that they see are being prevailed for them. I mean, we are not at the stage of knocking on doors anymore. You make the road, you clear the road, you break down all the barriers, and you get to where you need to go. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's not a matter of knocking on doors. So you do whatever you need to do to get to wherever you need to get to. Just strive and succeed.
All right. So the Arise Festival 2020 is all about inspiring you to do great things. And as you heard from Lebogang Lebepe, it's all about getting you into the property market. You don't need to do it on your own because there's venture capital, which is an option that you can use to get into the market. Just get a bunch of people to come together, put their money together, because with unity, there's progression. The same way the Youth of 76 came together and changed the circumstances of South Africa, that's what Lebo is essentially doing with his business. Pulling money together and going into a market that is very saturated by old money, and it needs your new money to come in. From as little as 50 grand, Lebo said, you can get into the property market. So all I gotta say right now is that we wanna hit you up with another performance. I hope you're ready. I hope you have your dancing shoes, because right now, we're gonna hit you up with this performance.